We're getting happy.
Hey! It says we're live.
Get music, get happy, everyone. It's that time.
It is that time. We hope you're doing all right out there. I'm Michael Thurber.
I'm Tessa Lark.
And we are live from our home in Manhattan. We're here in Washington Heights on the Upper West Side, quarantined in our apartment. At this very moment, specifically, we're in our music studio. So if you're hearing a little reverb on the mics,
it's because we live in your typical concert hall-sized rooms in New York City. That's
We're just
why.
that fancy. This room is actually a giant
massive
recital hall. But your computer is not broken. We just put a little bit of reverb on our mics to make our music sound even more beautiful. We're going to play a really cool program for you right now. It's going to be a combination of the Bach two-part inventions that were originally written for piano, but we now play on violin and bass. And we're also going to play a bunch of our original inventions. So we're going to start off with one of those right now. This is a tune called Wooden Soldier. So we hope you dig it.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Let's do this. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. So much. Oh, please be seated. You're too kind.
That's too much applause.
You're too kind. We're only on the first number.
This is great. This is actually it's amazing how close you can get to the feel of real performance for us. So we hope that you're feeling it out there too.
Yeah.
So as you heard, that tune has a bit of sort of Americana, or to be more specific, sort of Appalachian fiddle influence in it. And that's because Tessa actually played mandolin and fiddle before she became a Grammy-nominated classical violin soloist.
Oh, jeez. That's too kind.
You like how I slipped that in there?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, slip it in anytime. That's cool. I was born and raised in Kentucky, and my dad plays bluegrass banjo. So there's a bunch of bluegrass in the house. Actually, he and my mother went to school in Iowa, so there are actually a lot of friends, I hope, that are watching from Des Moines, the Iowa area. So hello to you all.
Hey, hey.
But yeah, they have a big bluegrass folk background, and that rubbed off a lot on me. But my training was primarily classical, and that's how Michael and I actually met, is through classical music. But then we started talking and found out that we both had a love for American music. Mine is the bluegrass love, and Michael brings in a lot of jazz and blues influence, which you've also been trained in and experienced in.
Yeah, so that's sort of the vibe. That's how we wound up playing such eclectic programs. So right now we're actually going to play for you the piece that was the genesis of this whole concept of us as a duo. And that is Bach, his first C major piano invention. So Bach wrote all these piano inventions for his piano students as a way to teach them about counterpoint. And so we thought that they were really amazing. We wanted to learn more about how our two specific musical voices could interact. So we started playing those, and this first one was the first one we learned, and then we wrote our own original invention that was our own exploration of counterpoint in the same key as this first invention. And we named it Tumble Time, after the setting on the dryer machine, and you'll hear why. So hopefully you hear why. So we're gonna play Bach C major right into Tumble Time. We're going to be on the comments in between pieces, so if you want to say hey, let us know. And just a reminder again, if you're hearing reverb on our voices, your computer is not broken. We're in our recording studio, and we wanted to add a little studio magic. So this is Bach C major into Tumble Time. Hope you dig it.
Bach C major, and our very own
Tumble
Tumble
Time.
Time.
We're going to check in on the comments and see what everybody's saying. In the meantime, if you're just tuning in, this is Tessa, Lark. I'm Michael Thurber.
Hey.
We play in a duo. We're going to be playing all kinds of music. And we hope you guys are doing great out there. It's a rainy night in New York City, but we're feeling good. We've got some music. We got a beautiful music room. So we're making the dream a reality. We also wanted to give a special shout out to Peter Stevenson. Thank you so much for having us on, Peter.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Calla Whip, also for helping us out with the tech and getting us all set up here.
It's no small feat. We spent the whole day getting our tech happening.
Yeah, and I'm sure if there are any musicians listening, you know all of those woes with getting tech set up, so the help was very much appreciated. There's some...
We got anything in the comments?
Pretty much just really sweet comments. I see people are getting reacquainted with one another. That's a fun thing always on Livestream.
Happy to see the party.
Yeah, Anthony Lee said, "What a great piece to get the evening started. Woot woot."
We'll take it.
Woot,
Thank you, Anthony.
You know? Thanks, man. Yeah. Sarah Smith, this is fantastic. You all are so sweet.
Aww.
Thank you. This is fun. Yeah, and have any questions?
Have any questions?
Bring them here. We're ready to interact. We're having some fun. We got music. We got happy.
That's it.
So we're at Get Music, Get Happy.
That's as simple as that.
Yeah. Anyway. Usually we have an audience to sort of keep us behaving.
Yeah, the audience is like usually,
goes.
Just politely laughs at our ridiculous banter. But this is what happens. We live together and we travel together as a duo. So lots of inside jokes, folks. We're going to keep going. We're going to play now two Bach inventions, two more. This is his D minor and then his C minor. We're going to play them back to back. And then we're going to go right into another one of our original inventions called Cedar and Sage. And this one is a really cool tune. It's one of the early ones that we wrote together. We love playing it. You're definitely going to hear a lot more of the Appalachian vibes and a lot of groove happening. So look out for that.
Yeah. Oh, a little tidbit I guess we don't usually get to share. This is the very room where that piece was written.
Oh, that's true. That's
we
actually
don't get
all
to
of
show...
these, most of them, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've lived in this apartment for several years, and this is actually called the Magic Cabin. We call this room the Magic Cabin, and this is where the magic happens with the music writing. So
this is where it happens, y'all.
Where it came from. Cedar and Sage is the original, and we're going to start with Bach's D minor and C minor.
Okay, great. Thanks for saying it again, because I got to remember it.
Yeah, who knows?
All bets are off during quarantine.
Yeah, focusing on eating. All right.
Here we go.
Cool. Harder to do a fade out with the mics a foot in front of your face.
So hard. The whole thing, just for you guys out there that are, big music fans, which I'm sure most of you are, the whole thing is so wild as musicians because it feels like recording, except you're doing it in front of a live audience. And so it's actually very nerve-wracking because you have this mic right in front of you and it's picking up everything, but there's an audience, so you can't go back and redo it. But it's amazing. We're having a blast. We hope you guys are too. If you're just tuning in, this is Tessa Lark. I'm Michael Thurber. Or is it Tessa Lark, Michael Thurber?
We don't even know
We
anymore.
don't even know.
Quarantine.
We've been locked away. We're going crazy.
What is reality?
We're coming at you live from New York City in our music room, in our apartment. We're so happy to be here. We're playing a bunch of our own original music, and then we're also playing a bunch of Bach, and we're sort of playing them back to back because the Bach inspired all of our original music.
Yeah, and we have to thank Civic Music Association so much for giving us this chance to play music. It really feels live. Like, I'm nervous, and it feels amazing. Like, it feels like we're back on the stage. So thank you so much for having us. And if the spirit is moving, y'all, I think there is a donate button somewhere nearby for Civic Music Association.
I don't know if it's down here or if it's over there or
that way or
it's somewhere.
Somewhere.
But click on it. If you're feeling generous, if you got anything to spare, send it to Civic Music so that they can keep doing this amazing online series and all the other amazing in-person series that they do. We see you all in the comments. Everybody's being so nice.
Everyone's being nice. No questions so far that I see. Somebody said...
you guys are so sweet.
Amazing bass player.
Whoa, I'll take it. Thanks.
Check that out.
Thanks, Eric. I'll take it, man.
Yeah, party time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There's a meme applause.
Yeah, we got it's like an elephant or a mouse or something.
I think it was a dude.
It's a dude. Okay,
Michael.
but with giant
it's
ears.
A human man.
A human man with giant ears clapping. Okay.
So we don't see any questions so far. Bring them out.
If you have any questions about our original music, whatever, life, anything you want to hear about.
Yeah, life as an unemployed musician.
Right, right in. Tell us what's up. The only other thing I'll remind you too, if you're just tuning in, if you hear some reverb, don't worry, your computer is not broken. We're just in our studio and we have a little reverb added, but everything is gravy. We're going to keep playing. So this is Bach's B minor invention. This one is so beautiful. I think this is I think it's one of the more beautiful ones. They're all masterpieces, but this one is just so beautiful. It's so sleek. It's so introspective. And it has the perfect counterpoint that we all know and love from Bach. So we're going to start off with the B minor, and then we're going to go into Weather Vane.
That's right. Yeah, that's another original tune of ours. Appropriate if you're in New York City, appropriate for the weather today.
Yeah, it's a rainy night.
Yeah, so Weather Vane was actually inspired by a weather vane that is on my old house in Kentucky, and Michael and I were visiting my parents in Kentucky, and it was a gloomy, overcast day, as it often is there for some reason, and this weather vane was sort of very poignantly waving back and forth in the breeze and making this really cool sound. And so Weather Vane was inspired by that sound, but also the whole vibe of that cloudy day and the pensive quality.
Yeah, so it's perfect for tonight.
And then we'll go back to Bach after that, right? With some more
G major.
Uplifting G major. I always feel guilty playing these Bach inventions because it's not nearly as difficult on the violin as it is on the bass. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see where his hand goes in this camera because he has to move so far. Yeah, it's quite an amazing feat for a bass player.
Tessa's nice to me.
I mean,
she goes easy on me.
I'm in quarantine with the guy, so I better be nice.
You gotta be nice.
You know.
Cool. So here we go. So this is a little original sandwich with Bach on both sides. Bach B minor, our original Weather Vane into Bach G major.
All right.
Let's see if we can remember all that. let's see what's going on in the comments.
All right.
Who we got?
Whoa, hello from West Africa.
Whoa.
Amazing.
Hey, what time is it in West
cool.
Africa? It must be, what do you guys, 10 hours away or something?
Yeah,
Man, whatever time it is, thank you for tuning in. That's beautiful to have you.
Cool. Hi from Iowa. Yay!
Hey,
Marsha
Iowa.
Hall. Yay, that's old
Nice.
fam right there.
Oh, good. We have a helpful note that says the donate button is on Michael's left. So I don't know what there's a mirror image over here, so I don't actually know what my left is, but I'm trusting that you do. So
Yeah.
maybe it's over
my
there.
left
I don't know.
too? Because yeah.
Who else do we got?
Let's see. There's that clapping dude.
What are
Van again.
What are the other instruments? Scroll down. There's a question.
Oh,
What are the other instruments in your room? What was the first instrument you learned to play? BTW, the sound quality is very good. Thank you. Oh, we're glad to hear that. Yeah, you know, we're probably in the same boat as all of you guys. We watch these live streams, and you know, it was cute at first to throw open your phone and play, but now we all want them to sound better. So I'm glad this one is sounding good. Thank you for saying that. So the other instruments in the room. This is my Lakeland bass guitar. I play a lot of bass guitar. There's actually like 3 other bass guitars over here that you can't see in the shot. Then this is a beautiful nylon string acoustic that was handmade that I got in Mexico City, which is a beautiful guitar. And then there's another electric, there's a Gretsch over here, and then over right past Tessa's left arm, there's a whole row of synthesizers, analog synthesizers. So there's all sorts of cool gear in here. What was the other question?
What instrument did you first learn to play?
Well, you were different than me.
Yeah, I guess if you're just tuning in, I was mentioning earlier, I grew up in Kentucky, and my first instrument was actually the mandolin. My dad plays banjo. But then straight after the mandolin, I started my formal violin lessons. I always tinkered around on the piano when I was little too, and I do have my mandolin still here in this apartment, and just got a ukulele. Every girl's got to play a ukulele, Got to do that songwriting. So, yeah, but mandolin was my first instrument.
Yeah.
And was it drums?
I think drums. I started playing all the band, like rock band instruments. So like drums and keys and guitar. That's how I started. But then I started this before bass guitar, which is rare because most bass players, at least in America, started on electric bass, playing like funk and rock, and then learn upright. But I started right on upright, and it's still my primary instrument for sure.
It's so amazing actually living with Michael and hearing him make music in this music room, because he plays all of those instruments he mentioned very well, and he writes a lot for Broadway, for musicals, pop songs too, and he's in here arranging and composing songs and playing every single part. He's doing the drums, the guitar, the bass guitar, the vocals. It's just like man of all talents here. It's super cool to be able to hear that happen.
I pay her to say this. I pay more of the rent so that she'll say these nice things.
I just don't know what to say to that.
That's not true. I don't actually pay more of the rent. I don't do it. So we're going to keep going. Speaking of many talents, we're going to move into my favorite part of the set, because I get to do nothing. I get to put my bass down and listen to the many talents of Tessa. If you guys don't know Tessa, in addition to being a great fiddler, she's becoming one of the major classical soloists in the country. And she was just nominated for a Grammy this year for Best Classical Soloist for a really amazing violin concerto that was written just for her by a very dear friend of ours, Michael Torkey, and that piece is called Sky, and you can check it out on Spotify, you can buy it on iTunes, whatever, all the places music is available. But anyways, Tessa, take it away.
I pay half the rent for him to say all that. So, since Bach is a composer that all musicians, all modern musicians are inspired by, as we've been showing during this live stream, I'll stick with that. This is the Largo from his C major violin solo sonata, and these pieces were just revelations for everybody who wrote solo violin music after Bach, because he made this single instrument into several voices at once, and so you'll be hearing a beautiful bass line, even though the bass is no longer present in this live. But one of my very, very favorite pieces. A lot of violinists have been picking this up during quarantine because it's very cathartic to listen to and to play. It's very peaceful, beautiful music. So here's Bach's Largo. Thank you all. Oh, thanks, Michael. Thank you. I just love that piece. But I might equally love this part of the program, which I do best, which is sit in the corner and listen to Michael's amazing playing, as you all have been commenting on. So, Michael, please come back. I'll adjust this mic for you.
Okay, thank you. That's that never gets old, getting to listen to Tessa play Bach. It's amazing. We play all around the country, and I never get sick of it. I'm always so excited to hear what she does with it. It's totally different every time you play those movements. It's gorgeous.
Maybe unintentionally.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, so I'm gonna play one of my favorite tunes ever. This is a tune that you'll all recognize. It's credited as the Beatles. It's usually credited as John Lennon and Paul McCartney, but I believe Paul McCartney wrote this. But I don't know. Maybe John Lennon had input as well. But it's one of my favorite tunes. I'm sure you'll know it. All right, let's see how everybody's doing in the comments. Let's see what's happening here. Love this song. Hey, me too. Glad you're into it. Glad you're feeling it. Thank you, Tessa and Michael. Carol from Ames. Hey, Carol. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out. This is beautiful. It looks like we got a lot of people joining us right now. So if you just came in, how are you? This is Tessa Lark.
Hi.
I'm Michael Thurber. We're playing music. We are about 2/3 of the way through a program that's been mostly original music, a lot of Bach, our own transcriptions of Bach's two-part piano inventions, which inspired most of the originals that we've written together, and also a few just random awesome tunes, like Blackbird by the Beatles. We're going to keep going.
Ooh, we do have a great question from Civic Music Association themselves.
Hey.
Or is this for actually the... Maybe it's for the whole chat room.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's a fun question. How are you experiencing the music? This is for everybody out here. How are you experiencing the music? Are you doing it over dinner, over drinks, with your whole family? Quarantine photos, send them our way, they say.
Hey.
I thought that was a deep question from a listener. But how are you experiencing music these days, Michael?
I'm experiencing it better than ever.
Yeah?
I'm thankful for it. It's
cool.
a blessing to have it. It keeps us going. It's amazing to be able to be here and play and focus. And like Tessa was saying earlier, it's really beautiful to play for you guys right now because this feels very real. It's amazing how real it feels. So hopefully it does for you too.
It's bizarre also being nervous in your own apartment.
I know, it's like right there
like
is like our dinner table and living room, yet like we're in here and it feels like a live concert and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, and every few minutes I'm like, oh, are we going to get a noise complaint? But actually our neighbors, thanks to any neighbor that's tuning in, never has been one complaint. So
yeah, they're cool.
We really appreciate that.
We have amazing neighbors. Shout out to our neighbors.
Shout out to our neighbors. Shout out again to Peter Stevenson and Kala Civic Music Association for giving us this chance to play.
It's amazing.
What do you think we should do next?
Let's do, so we're going to play a tune for you right now that we wrote for one of our favorite couples. They're very good friends of ours, and their names are Tom and Nancy. And Tom and Nancy have a lot of joie de vivre. Is that how you say
French.
it? Was that good?
You know, your French is better than mine. Yeah.
I do what I can. They're really just like wonderful people, and they have so much vitality and are always ready to have a good time. So when you go and visit them at their house, they have this incredible wine cellar. And what happens is you go over there, and before you know it, there's like a bottle of incredible old wine sitting on the table. You have a couple sips, it's amazing, the conversation starts flowing, the conversation gets better and better, you're convinced that you're all soulmates, you're solving all the problems in the world, and then suddenly there's like 6 empty bottles of wine on the table. So you go to bed happy, and your soul is full of love, and then you wake up the next morning, and you feel horrible. You feel like you're dying. And so we started to call that feeling endearingly getting Tom and Nancy. So that's the name of this next tune. It's called Tom and Nancy. And we don't know. We can't see you guys right now. So who knows? You might be getting Tom and Nancy yourself right now. I hope you are. But whatever you're doing, this tune sort of depicts a night with Tom and Nancy. You'll hear us sort of arriving at the house, making pleasant chatter, having a great time. The night gets wilder and wilder. You'll even hear the way Tom and Nancy talk at each other, sometimes over the top of each other. and then you'll hear the dread of the next morning, and then you'll hear 5 p.m. the next day when you decide to do it all over again. So this is Tom and Nancy.
Tom and Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anybody else saying hey in the comments?
Hey.
We got a few people. I'm Suzanne. I'm 14. What musicals have you written for? Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so Nikki asked, no, it says, I'm Suzanne. She asked, what musicals have I written for? So I actually have a musical right now that's in development called Goddess that was actually set to have a production announced back in March, and then all of this COVID stuff happened. So the announcement hasn't happened yet. So I can't actually say when the musical is going up and where.
Oh man!
But all I can say is that it is, hopefully, if theaters reopen next year. It's called Goddess. It's a musical that I wrote music and lyrics for with two incredible collaborators. Jocelyn Bio, who is becoming a very famous, very prolific playwright here in New York City. She had a huge hit play called Schoolgirls that was at MCC off-Broadway a couple years ago and is now done all around the country. And she's written for many TV shows that you watch for sure, like Russian Doll. She was nominated for an Emmy for Russian Doll. And then the director, Sahim Ali, who is another legendary theater force who was set to direct Shakespeare in the Park this summer, their Richard II, which of course was sadly canceled as well. But that's going to be an amazing show, so look out for it. I've written many other musicals too. One of them went up off Broadway a few years ago in New York, but the biggest one coming is Goddess. So
keep an eye out. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You better. You better.
Dancing a funky jig someone's doing, and some other people are saying that they're getting Tom and Nancy themselves, which we're happy to hear.
Hey, is that right? Nice.
Yeah, hey.
Do it. Live your life.
Somebody wrote wine, and they tagged a friend and said, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And I think I know what that is that you're thinking, even though you weren't talking to us.
I hope you're going and you're making it happen right now.
Man, this is a super fun crowd. I guess we haven't been talking too much about ourselves in between, but our time is about up. I'm Tessa Lark. This is Michael Thurber, and if you want to find our stuff online. We're pretty active, mostly on Instagram. We have our individual Instagrams of our names, and then we have our duo Instagram called Lark and Thurber. You can find our stuff there. We have a CD together called Invention that you can stream anywhere. iTunes, Spotify. It might be out of print right now, but we'll get on that.
No, it's
so
on
you
iTunes.
can-
It's on iTunes.
It is on iTunes.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Physical copies are out, and we have to get them reprinted, but we can't right now with the pandemic. But please, if you feel like supporting, we would really appreciate it. Go to iTunes. You can buy our album there. It's called Invention. Just search either of our names.
Yeah, and if you feel like supporting further in a time when we need arts more than ever, then please go to Michael's left, whichever left that is, and hit the donate button for Civic Music Association, who's doing an amazing thing having these Get Music, Get Happy Hours. This is really rejuvenating my soul.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be here.
Yeah, and tune in next week for their next Get Music, Get Happy Hour.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do one more tune for you guys. This has been amazing. Seriously, what a joy. You guys are an amazing audience. We can tell just online. Hopefully we get a chance to see you guys in person one day soon. We're going to take you out with another one of our originals, aptly titled Until We Meet Again. So, until we meet again.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Lots of love.
Okay, everybody. Until we meet again.
Thank you all.
Signing off, sending lots of love. Tessa, Lark, Michael Thurber. Peace.